Hello. Today I'm illustrating the uncommon animals of the Alphabet Kids book. And I'm trying the multi-stream here. I've got no way of really checking that it's going out everywhere. I'm just doing it, seeing what happens at the end of it. I might be on a limited clock because my daughter's in the other room with some snacks and some TV that tends to only last for so long. But today I am drawing the Okapi, and that's a Barbarossa you're looking at. There's my reference image there. And I just thought I'd show you a bit of my sketchbook first because I'm a little bit early. I didn't do an aardvark because I did that straight into Procreate. I decided to do a bit of a sketch first. So this is my here is my coconut crab, which I'm pretty happy with the coconut crab. I like the way that one turned out. And going over to D, Dumbo octopus. There's not much to draw with a Dumbo octopus, so a pretty simple and extremely cute looking thing. So but those ones have turned out all right. And so with this kids book as well, I am doing the initial pencil sketch. I'm putting those up as NFTs on Voice HQ as well, and as well as creating the kids book. So I'm doing a few things at the same time here. Here's my electric eel. Wasn't entirely happy with my electric eel, so I kind of in post kind of did it swimming around a corner sort of thing. So let's see what. Yeah, we'll just keep going here, just looking at seeing what is available in this live stream. So I did this one sideways. This is, of course, a flying fish. Yeah, pretty happy with that one too. There's some I'm more happy with than others because being uncommon animals, some of them are quite weird to draw and some of them don't have very good reference images either. So I'm hoping that it's for a kids book, but I'm also hoping that I'm partly technically correct as well. I don't want to be not making them correct now. So yeah, that is a Goliath beetle, sorry. This is a howler monkey. I wasn't as happy with the howler monkey as things like beetles, stuff like that. But the howler monkey, you know, a furry edge. Where do you end a furry edge? That's kind of a weird thing. This is my immortal jellyfish. I'm really happy with the way this one turned out as the digital drawing because I could kind of really make it look quite bioluminescent and play with the transparencies and stuff in the top of the jellyfish there. So pretty happy with that. This one was my jumping spider. Yeah, they're pretty cool. I was happy-ish with this one. It kind of looks better in post as well. Some of them look better in post because I've been able to, you know, like if I get my proportions slightly wrong in the pencil sketch, then I can go through and fix them up in post and kind of distort the image which I've drawn. This is the Komodo dragon. So I'm drawing all of these creatures. So the challenge I've got is not only am I drawing weird creatures which don't normally have many illustrations of, I'm drawing them front on, head on, for it to work in my design of the kids book page. So yeah, and here is the lynx. The lynx I had so much trouble with. I'm still not quite sure what's going on with this because the rest of the body isn't there. Some animals' faces kind of require the rest of the body to make sense, and I think a lynx is one of those creatures. And here is the manatee This is one of my favorite ones. It's really simple, a really simple sketch, but it's effective. You know, it doesn't need to be anything else because, you know, it's a kid's book. And here is my narwhal. So this was also quite a challenge, given that it has this, you know, unicorn horn on the end of its nose. Trying to work out whether because I wanted to keep it head on, straight on. The challenge was, do I have to do it slightly offset it and have it looking off sideways or something like that to make it work? But I think the front on view works. I still need to do the digital sketch of this one. So that takes me to the Okapi. Kind of looking a little bit, just the head of it looking a bit like a aardvark, kind of. I need to work out how I can make the camera work, because the camera's right in my face as I'm doing it. So, and I've got a few pencils on the go. So let's just try and get the initial face shape. So the Okapi is kind of, looks like a cross between a giraffe and a zebra. It kind of has a hindquarters like a zebra, a face like a giraffe, except has more prominent horns, and it doesn't have a long neck. So see how we go. This is always the worst stage because it kind of tends to look a bit terrible when you're starting off, and then you gradually erase stuff and make it look better and better as you go along. Now, above these eyes, these weird horns kind of come up from the eyebrow, blunt horns. Now, let me just see. That's all good. Let me just see what that does. I'm just making sure that I can see the chat. But I think I can. Let me just write something in here so I know. And see if it comes up. Yeah, no, it comes up. So I can see that I've written hi. Because I'd hate people to be trying to say hello. It's not happening. And then I've got these really big ears. It comes in more like that. Lucky I've just got enough page there. And one thing I do when I bring them, turn them into a digital sketch, digital illustration, I mean, is I create my lines using the symmetry tool, and that not only saves time but also helps make the face look a lot more balanced and right. So as I'm kind of drawing, I can decide what side of a face that I'm going to go with. Got really cool nostrils. Nostrils are coming up like this. They got cool everything, really. And they've got, I'm trying to decide, they've got an extremely long tongue, like about 1.5 foot long tongue. And I've seen some great photographs of them with the tongue kind of like wrapping around their snout and like kind of cleaning out their eye. And I thought that would be really funny if I can make it work. But what I'll do is I'll do the initial sketch first and then work out whether I want to attempt the tongue going around. So we've got these interesting kind of slots of their nostrils. I kind of like anything that kind of can create a design, shapes, like bring it down, reduce the sketch down to a bunch of kind of like really interesting shapes. So it's more like a tattoo or something like that, a piece of graphic design. That's what I'm trying to do. Because I'm also thinking it would be cool to do some t-shirts or kind of things like that, like, you know, the Aardvark Admirers Association and stuff like that, kind of like playing off Bored Apes type thing. But, you know, at the same time raising awareness about unique animals. With the whole concept being that I kind of, initially when I was thinking of something to do, I wanted to, I'm good at art and I love animals and I want to help animals and be involved somehow in animal conservation. And I was thinking, well, there's a business plan which will mean that you aren't going to have any money. So I thought, how can I incorporate the art and the animal conservation kind of roll them into the one idea. And not that, you know, be making much money off this, but hopefully, you know, maybe it will raise some awareness around certain animals. And once awareness is raised around certain animals, then there's like a shot at people's interest in preserving their environment and preserving the animals. They're big ears. I think they're even actually bigger than that, but I've made them a bit smaller. And those types of horns. Let me just check my daughter's. You all right, mate? She's all good. So, working these cheeks. So now with the eyes, that's my one chance to make him not look like the devil. Right, buddy? You need another drink of water. Okay. They tend to have a little bit of their head kind of come out here. So that goes up there. They've kind of got these veins or markings. But I like to try and highlight. Just getting the general, working out the main shapes to start with. And I'll attempt to make it a bit cuter while still being realistic. Cute realism. Now, I want to see inside the ear a bit more. It's a little bit of a twirly bit of skin which kind of curls around like that. And if anyone's in the chat just watching, I'd love you to just say hello. That'd be cool. I'd like to do more of this kind of stuff. It's just awkward finding quiet space with kiddos and stuff going on. Jelly Duck, hey, how you doing? You're watching from Twitch. How's things? It's been a while. And it's been a while since I've been doing a live stream. I am just drawing an Okapi for my Uncommon Animals of the Alphabet Kids book. And I'm just going to have a sip of my coffee. And the Okapi is related to the giraffe. Looks like a miniature giraffe with a short neck, has larger horns, has a very long tongue. I'm trying to work out how I can do a tongue coming out of here. And has a hindquarters like a zebra. So it's certainly an interesting animal to draw. Just trying to work out what I do next. I think probably what would be good is to try and make these eyes just a little bit cuter. You can always cutesy them up a little bit more in post too. In post meaning Procreate. Do that on my iPad. But I think the way to make these eyes look a little less demonic is to round them a bit more, even though that's not truly the way they are. Even that's not really, it's not really looking cutesy, that's for sure. It needs work. I suppose my big thing is I try and get the animal as accurate as I can to start with, and then work on the main lines that kind of make up the animal, and then just try and see how you can kind of add a more cute look to it, because my mother-in-law, she always looks at these and she goes, they always look so dark and sinister. And I'm doing a kid's book, and I do love dark and sinister things, like I'd like horror movies and stuff like that, but yeah. Some interesting markings going on here. What have you been up to, Jelly Duck? What's going on in Kuwait? What's going on there? So I just did a bit of a sketchbook tour before all of my previous drawings. For me, I'm just sitting at the gaming cafe. Cool. Are you about to go on Twitch and do a gaming stream? It's probably 3:43 a.m. Oh my goodness. What are you doing up this time of night? You're in a gaming cafe, of course. You're up early. Up early or out late, one or the other. It's open 24/7. All right, cool. It's kind of a good place to hang out, I suppose, if you have leisure time in your work, shift work or something like that, and you've got somewhere to hang. So by the same token, this is like the base illustration for my kids' book drawing, but it's also a standalone piece of work that I auction off as an NFT. So I try and keep my lines a bit cleaner than what I would if I was probably just scribbling something out. I'll try and, these little sections of a face that kind of create different angles, so I'm trying to create them different shades. I always tend to have the light sources for my sketches from the top right. I suppose it keeps them consistent. The right hand side slightly elevated kind of thing. And I think one way to kind of make this little fella look a bit cuter as well is to have that tongue coming out. So that's not a shadow, that's actually the difference in hair colour. So there's not only the difference in hair colour, but there's the shading as well, so that can kind of potentially might confuse the issue. What game are you planning on playing tonight, Jelly Duck? Not that I know any of them, but I don't get time to play games. This is my free time activity. I have these massive ears. Must have extremely good hearing. Shadings, starting to bring it to life a bit more. Now, let's have a look down here at the nose. Get a bit of darkness into there. And get some. See, I tend to like, in terms of making it a designy kind of shape, I put kind of like sharp ends on my lines to make it more like a design, but that kind of tends to work against the cutesy nature of kids' books drawings. So but we'll see how we go. And you can do many things. I think the one I manipulated most in post in Procreate was my howler monkey, because its proportions just didn't seem to work. So it's really good to be able to do that. go. Some the second horn in. I don't know how much longer my daughter's got watching the TV before she loses interest, but we shall find out. So these are kind of like these lines in the face. They're kind of like, you know, what you see on a horse's snout. Where you kind of got those veins coming through. And you know, the whole thing of not trying to make it look too weird, they look weird. So, so it's like, it's weird, cutesy. It doesn't look too evil. It doesn't look too demonic, I don't think, maybe. Let's do a bit more sharpening. I need to get one of these propelling pencils. I tend to like those a bit better. So I can still do a bit of shadow to this fur over here. They got a really fuzzy edge around the ears as well. Now, the drawing I'm looking at his ears in complete shadow, my reference, but it must be because it's leaning, it's kind of positioned forward a little bit, but I'm not going to do that because it will just look, this won't look right in the sketch. I might just bring the shadow across a little bit more here. that, and I'm just realising there's kind of another shade line on the snout here. And the whole snout is darker anyway, so it's hard to define. Something I need to work at with my sketching is like an animal with like different colours in its fur or its skin, and then how the light hits that, like whether you're just drawing a shade alone, a light and shade alone, or whether you're doing the patchiness of the animal as well. Something I definitely need to work on there. So in here, I've got some little whisker dots. So they're kind of cool. Yeah. Now, one thing I can cutesy up a bit, that's because they got, and the eyes are actually really lovely, is to follow the eye line and give them some, because they've got beautiful long eyelashes. I'm going to have to get a really sharp pencil for this to get the eyelashes right. You only get one shot at them. It's amazing what some eyelashes do. And I've also got a few just on that brow as well. It's all of a sudden kind of softened it a bit, made it not look quite so much like a skull, devil skull. One thing I may have done is made the face a bit long. It's hard to tell because it's whether its face is angled down a bit, then it will be longer, of course. Yeah, I'm getting much happier with this. It's funny, you start off and put your first lines down and you go, oh God, what am I doing? And then the more you progress, the more you get through it, you add a little bit more here, a bit more there, and finally starts to take shape and you start to see it. Breathe a bit of a sigh of relief that you haven't completely ruined it. This little bit up here is kind of like a fairy shape, so I need to kind of, it's not such a hard line, it's a fuzzy line. Like so. That's getting pretty close. Now I'll just get a bit of darkness up here to kind of give it a bit of distance. Okay. Then you get to that point of, you know, where do you stop as well? They do too much, you'll ruin it. It's just a matter of sharpening up some of these lines a bit. Like so. And the other thing I can think of is just a little bit more. These lightning bolts on the cheeks. I'm going to turn them into lightning bolts. That looks beautiful. Thank you very much, Jelly Duck. I was a bit worried at the beginning. It looked a bit like a demon goat skull, but it's kind of looking more like a Okapi, which is this weird kind of giraffe thing with giant ears and larger horns. But yeah, I think I'm just about done. So what I'll do now is I will take a photo of this and put it into Procreate and then do the digital illustration over the top using some of the tools just to kind of give it that kids book layer look. I've got to work out its wallpaper. So with all the wallpapers on all these animals, I'm trying to come up with like some kind of signature item, like last one of my manatee being a sea cow. I had a whole heap of grass behind it, and with the aardvark I had ants and things like this. So I have to work out what object can identify the Okapi. But anyway, thank you so much, Jelly Duck, for joining me, and whoever's watching on the playback. Yeah, if anyone has any drawings of Okapis themselves that they want to share, I'd love to see. Link me in the comments. I'd love to see what you've done. Yeah, until next time, I will be working on a platypus next time. Possibly one of the weirdest creatures on the planet, and I'm so proud to say that it comes from Australia. That makes me feel warm all over. So anyway, I shall check everyone next time. Ciao.